Okay, now that my hood's all set up, can we start the reaction?
Before we run the reaction, it's better to practice the basic techniques with just a solvent.
Yeah, that'd probably make me more comfortable with the technique.
First, we need to make sure that all the glassware is oven dried and then cooled in a desiccator. We now can connect the flask to the Schlenk line and evacuate the air by connecting it to the vacuum. Now we fill the flask with nitrogen. When you switch to fill the flask with nitrogen, you need to do it slowly and watch the bubbler. If you do it too fast, there's not enough nitrogen to compensate for the vacuum, and air will be sucked through the bubbler. You see? Now we need to repeat this procedure 3 times.
Here, I have a round bottom flask with some solvent we can practice with.
Okay, for small amounts, it's good to use an airtight syringe. Make sure to use the long enough needle to reach the liquid. If the needle isn't long enough, it forces you to tilt the bottle, which isn't safe. You need to connect a nitrogen line to the flask so that when you pull up the plunger on the syringe, you don't create a vacuum. To prevent overpressurization, you need to connect an outlet to a bubbler. Now, when I remove the syringe, I make sure that my other hand is holding the needle to point away from myself.
What about for larger amounts?
For larger amounts, we use a cannula.
What's a cannula?
A cannula is a stainless steel tube with a needle-like end on one side and a blunt end on the other.
I see that the needle allows you to insert the cannula through the septum. What's the blunt end for?
The blunt end allows you to reach the bottom of the flask to draw the last of the liquid off. Here, let me show you how to use it. First, I place the flask under nitrogen. We need to puncture the septum with the sharp end and then insert the blunt side through the hole. Notice that the cannula is not touching the liquid yet. The receiving flask is already equipped with a bubbler, and now I can insert the cannula into the flask. Lowering the blunt end into the solvent will cause the liquid to flow, and you can actually control the rate. As I mentioned before, lowering the blunt end all the way allows the last of the liquid to be transferred.
What if you need to measure large volumes accurately?
We use a graduated cylinder with a special adapter that is clamped on top.
Do we just use the same procedure as we used with the flask?
Yep, that's correct. Why don't you give it a try?
That worked well, but it'd take a long time for large amounts of liquid.
Well, for larger amounts of liquid, we have larger equipment. Alright, I think we're ready to run the reaction with the real thing tomorrow. Hey Gidget.
Oh, hey Matt, I think I'm ready to run my reaction with torpedo lithium today. I have all my protective gear on, and I made sure not to wear any clothing made of flammable synthetic fibers.
Well, actually, we should upgrade our personal protective gear, and your hood is a mess. We need to clean it up so we don't have any interference, especially for a reaction like this.
Okay. That was easy.
These lab coats are made of fire-resistant Nomex cloth, and the face shields will protect us when we need to open the sash. Also, we should remind ourselves where the safety shower, the eye wash, and the fire extinguishers are located.
I know where those are. but I guess it wouldn't hurt to have a reminder.
Yep, and the last thing to do?
Warn other lab mates that I'm working with a pyrophoric reagent.
Absolutely. You never run these reactions alone, and it's safer if you have someone at your back with a fire extinguisher at the ready, just in case something goes wrong. Now, let me show you just how reactive tert-butyllithium is. I've already got the bottle restrained and in a secondary container. Tert-butyllithium will ignite spontaneously in air as it reacts with oxygen and moisture.
Whoa! I'm glad we got to practice first. I'm feeling much more comfortable with this reaction. Thanks for helping me.
No problem. Glad you're feeling better about it.